There's not a person on this planet that if you walked up to them and said, hey, how would you like to double your bank account? Nobody on the planet's going to say no. Like, it's just, we're humans. We like to see things get bigger, numbers go up. We like the external validation. So like, that's never going to go away. The important thing is that you're not basing your life around those external metrics, that you have some internal metrics that you're then basing the external around, right? So if you're just, and this is what happens with YouTubers a lot, like they get on YouTube, they start building an audience, they get addicted to like number go up, right? And so they start making any content, saying anything that just makes number go up. And so they lose themselves. They don't really care about what they're making. They don't actually believe a lot of the things that they're saying. They're just chasing numbers over and over again. And it makes them miserable. Like if you ever sacrifice the internal for the external, you're gonna make yourself miserable. What you have to do is you have to figure out what are the internal metrics that are gonna guide everything. You know, whether that's impact, financial security, taking care of your family, whatever.
Wouldn't that be external though? Financial security and impact?
I would say financial security is absolutely internal, because I know a lot of millionaires who feel like they're broke. And I know a lot of people with 10K in their bank and they're completely secure and happy. So it's, the internal metric is very much, it's what is the state of mind that I want to have in my life? Like what is the state of mind that I'm going for? And the way that interacts with the external world is going to be a little bit different for everybody. Some people are going to feel broke at 10 million. Some people are going to feel completely fine at 10,000, right? So, but you have to start with that, like, okay, what is my internal value? Like, what do I want my state of mind to be? Like for me, it's I enjoy creating without authority above me, without limitation, right? It's like, I just enjoy thinking and sharing ideas, and I enjoy scaling those ideas. Like that's just fun to me. And so then you have to look at, okay, so what are the external metrics that align with those internal metrics that are accurate measurements of achieving that internal measurement? So, you know, say writing an article that people like that's a success. That's an external metric that lines up with my internal metric.
So the way that I understood that was that you have these internal values and they basically act as guides or arbiters of certain decisions that you are going to be presented with at a future opportunity, yes. Right? So they're basically making the decision and taking that burden off of your future self's shoulders. And that you should feel fulfillment that you stayed true to that, not necessarily attached and feel fulfillment from the outcome yes. of those decisions.
The internal guides, like the values that you decide for yourself, they become the heuristics of how you move through the world. It's like basically like, what are you going to optimize for? Are you going to optimize for clicks? Or are you going to optimize for impact? Are you going to optimize for creative satisfaction? Mm-hmm. Like all three of those things produce completely different careers.
And they can all be internal values.
There's an external representation to them, right? So if you're optimizing for just attention, that's going to be represented through views and clicks. If you're optimizing for impact, then that's probably going to be represented externally through like emails, fans reaching out, mm-hmm. follower, like mm-hmm. the qualitative things that are said to you. Like maybe you have 100 fans, but all 100 of those people are like, you completely changed my life. And then if you're optimizing simply for creative satisfaction, then you probably don't give a shit. You just put it out, and as long as it's beautiful and you feel good looking at it, then you're satisfied. But those all and those are all completely valid ways to build a life and build a career in the world, but they produce completely different outcomes. And I think it's fine. Like the mistake that people make is they just pick an external metric because they think it's going to make them look cool in front of their friends, or it's going to get them more dates, or it's going to ease the anxiety they feel all the time. And the truth is that purely external metrics without any sort of like internal tethering to a value, they just make you feel worse in the long run.
How do you know when is enough?
Dude, I don't know. I guess I would say enough is when pursuing more is creating more harm than it is good. That inflection point absolutely exists I think, on most dimensions, most metrics.
How did you know it was enough for you? I guess based on your own
I
experience.
feel like someone would have had to tell you. Because I feel like when when your judgment is so clouded, when you are in the thick of it, you're not going to be able to see it from like an outside perspective and be like, you know what, Mark, maybe I shouldn't go fly out to this speaking engagement because I'm not having a conversation I should be having with, a friend or my wife or something like that.
It's definitely one of those things you often realize after the fact. It's also so hard because in a lot of cases you have to do too much, and like this has been a common theme in my life. I tend to go too hardcore on things to know where that line is. Like I go past the line in order to find the line. So I look back at that period of my life and it's like, yeah, I definitely went too hard. I should have like said no to some things and pulled it back a little bit. But partly I only know that because I went too far, and in my case, it was during that period of my life, aside from just pretty intense burnout and being dissatisfied, my health started to suffer a lot. I gained a ton of weight, was like horribly out of shape, felt stressed all the time, had sleeping problems. So it's like those are all telltale signs. Like those are all signs like your body's telling you. Like, bro.
That's interesting because that's actual, like, it's a visual one.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, a lot of the other times, like relationships and stuff like that, that's hard to see when they're suffering.
Yeah.
But if you do look at your body and you're not satisfied with where you're at, and you know that you could be sacrificing a little bit of that for a little bit more of this that you don't need.
But it's funny because I would say even we're not objective even with our own bodies. Like, and I'm sure anybody who's struggled with their weight knows this. Like, I had to go again. I gained probably 40 pounds over like 4 or 5 years, 40 or 50 pounds. And it really wasn't until I was like 40 pounds in that I was like, oh wait, I gained a lot of weight, like I was years into an unhealthy lifestyle at that point before it even occurred to me like, oh shit, my jeans don't fit.